I'm very familiar with J4E and I'm a big fan of Vishal and J4E. So it's always a pleasure to be at a J4E event. You know, so I like the kind of persistence and commitment and the enthusiasm that the J4E members have demonstrated. And I've been on this platform several times in the past. So, I'm hoping that we can do something different today. So one of the things that I know that J4E and even in Deasra we see a lot of this is that most of the businesses that we work with, they tend to be solopreneurs or single individual entrepreneurs in some form or the other. So what I want to talk today is about how important team building is and what does it take to build a team and how should you go about building a team of other co-founders and partners and other things so that you can scale your business. Okay, so that's what I'm going to talk about today for the first about 15 to 20 minutes. And I'd like to keep the theme more to things that are useful to you when we ask your questions as well, because I can certainly tell you stories, but it'll be useful if those stories are valuable to you as well. So let's see how that goes. Anyway, so this is a brief about what I know. Kapila read out my CV, but that was actually fairly old. But that's okay. I'm doing many more things right now, and this is just a list of some of them. But let me start by saying that entrepreneurship can be a very tough journey, and sort of it might feel like it's something that it's very lonely. You are doing something on your own. You don't always have the opportunity of discussing things with anyone else. You kind of feel like, okay, if I have a problem, who do I talk to? If I want to do so many things, how many things can I do, and how do I prioritize what I'm doing? So in general, entrepreneurship can be very lonely. There are things, especially when life is tough, it is very hard to discuss at home with the family members as well. It is very hard to discuss some of these things with other employees. So in general, it is very difficult to sort of scale a business when you sort of look at it as an individual and as a single person running it. There is enough evidence to show that businesses that have more than one founder, meaning two or three, four co-founders, typically tend to have better odds of success as compared to trying to do it on your own and single-handedly. And one analogy that I like, and I'm going to use that today, is the mountain climbing stuff. So yes, an individual can go on your own to go to the Everest if you want to, but more and more you will find that it's a team that makes these kinds of things much more fun. They're more thing, and you need each other to go work with you because it's very hard to do these kinds of things all on your own. So you need a team to climb the mountain. And as an entrepreneur, it's your problem or your responsibility to bring other members of your team to be part of this journey. So now if you think about this and ask yourselves a question as to saying that, okay, you are running a startup and you are running a business of your own. Why would somebody come and join you, right? So normally we tell anybody who wants to join the business saying that, hey, you can come and join us because it is very exciting. There's always some new stuff happening. When you're in a job, you are always doing what you are told to do, and it can be very boring. And if you look at surveys, and especially in large companies, you'll find that there are many employees who are actually bored with the job they do. They don't know exactly what they ought to be doing, and it's not very exciting for them. So many of us at different ages and different stages in our life are looking for more excitement, and joining a startup can definitely be one of them. There's also this perception that if you're on your own, you have more freedom, you can do what you want. There's no boss to tell you what to do. So that can be another reason, though, as an entrepreneur, I'm sure you will have found out that everyone is your boss, in a journey that you're an entrepreneur. So while it's good to say that you are the boss, actually reality is that for an entrepreneur, everyone else is also their boss. So anyway, the fact is that, when somebody is looking to decide where to go, freedom is one important thing. Flexibility is certainly another area that people are very interested in, saying that in my job, I'm forced to go to work at this time, come back at this time. I cannot take leave when I want to. When you're an entrepreneur, you have more flexibility. You can decide when you want to do certain things, and you can choose the order in which you want to do some of these things. Of course, there's a lot of work, but nobody hesitates with work. The problem is that when things are very rigid, then life can be very difficult. So having flexibility is very interesting and important. And finally, there is wealth, right? So there's a belief that if you are an entrepreneur and you are successful, you'll be in the midst of good amount of wealth, and that could be another reason what motivates people to come and join your team. So clearly, excitement, freedom, flexibility, and wealth are definitely things that people are looking for when they're trying to join a startup. But more importantly, I think people are very interested in the colleagues that they're joining. So who else is on their team becomes very important. And if you bring in the right set of people, then other people also attract each other, and then you get good results because you're trying to really get into the teamwork and get teams to get together. What I want to share with you today is this other concept that I think is important for you to understand is that when you build a company and you start to bring in other people, you have to ask yourself this question: is this your company? Meaning, is it my company or is it our company? And how you answer this question can have major implications on how you run your business. So, again, as you start to build your team and you bring other co founders or other people who are part of your business, people who work with you rather than those who work with for you, then this kind of a context of what's your company? Is it our company or is it my company? When it is our company, what does it mean? What are you willing to share? These are things that become very critical and very important. So I'm going to share with you some ideas from this very famous author that I love this particular book that he has written called Beyond the Summit. And the author is Todd Skinner. And he writes about his experience in the mountaineering field. And I'm going to share with you his story mainly, and I'm going to use that as a way to motivate how you should build teams when you go on to doing this. So, one of the most famous quotes in this book is the fact that it is the mountain that will select the team. So, when you're selecting a team or when you're trying to assemble a team, the team that gets assembled because of the mission that you define for it. So one of the most famous examples of this is Kennedy, JFK, when he said it in the early 60s that we are going to land a man on the moon before the end of the decade. That was a mission. All of a sudden, a lot of people got attracted to that mission and they came and joined him to be part of the Apollo moon landing program. Right? So again, wherever you go, and even within Persistent, I have seen this happen a lot. When you define an ambitious goal and a mission, people get attracted to the mission and people are looking for a purpose to do their job. And when you define a mission for the company that is compelling, people are attracted, and that makes it much easier to hire people and to bring people on your team. So again, I'm just said I'm going to talk about this particular book called Beyond the Summit. The author is Todd Skinner. And this book, he talks about this particular expedition that he decided to carry out of a mountain peak called the Trango Tower. Now, the important thing to note is that Todd Skinner and people like him are in the free climbing area. So they do free climbing on rocks. So they climb up mountains with their bare hands. So they don't use axes and all that to sort of use this, and they don't use ropes and all to go up. They just anchor themselves with the rope so that in case they fall, they'll fall only a limited height because they have a rope that holds them back from going all the way down. But really, they are into free climbing. And this particular tower, Trango Tower, is part of the Himalayan Karakoram range. It is somewhere in the Pak-occupied Kashmir and in the sort of close to the Afghanistan border. And it's about 20,000 feet up above the thing with a 15,000 to almost 5,000 feet straight off cliff that they are climbing from bottom here all the way up. And this 5,000 feet climb is really amazing that you are starting at 15,000 feet all the way to 20,000 feet. Now, these guys are coming in from North America. They're from Wyoming. And, the highest peaks that you look at are pretty small. And most of you may have, who've been to Yosemite National Park, may have seen El Capitan, which is one of the very famous kind of flat faces of rock like this, which a lot of people try to climb. And of course, these guys had done that many times. But Todd Skinner and his team tried to climb the Trango Tower. And when he talks about in this book is the how he went about this expedition and how to create this team. So I don't know if you can make out on this picture, the third one, there are these black dots here at the corner here. These are those people, and they are trying to climb this flat face 5,000 feet up straight up. Okay, so this is what they're trying to do. So what happened was, how did he assemble the team, right? So he found four people who came and joined the team. So one of this guy was a guy called Steve Bechtel. And if you look at his thing, he has a video as well. on how he explains how he went about collecting the people on the team. So when he first went to people and said, hey, you guys have done this and all that, why don't you? People who had done climbing before, who were very serious climbers, who had climbed the Everest or whatever else, and other such things. When he went to them and said, let's go climb Trango Tower, most of those guys said, forget it. I've done something better. I don't need to do this. Or why should I bother to do this? This is not very exciting. Or, it's too much work. I don't want to be involved in it. So a lot of people just kind of walked away from it, saying that, it's not something I want to deal with. So he struggled for almost 2 years to find a team. So here he found somebody, guy called Steve Bechtel, who had shown the ability to basically climb Half Dome several times. This is the El Capitan and Half Dome. And he was very excited by this and he really wanted to go. He also brought along Bobby Modell and Mike Lilgreen. They had, again, very little climbing experience, but they were, of course, super talented. None of these guys had been to the Himalayan range. So they have never seen anything beyond 12,000 feet, which is what you would see in North America. So here they're coming to 15,000 and then going all the way to 20,000. So again, none of these guys had really ever reached this kind of stuff. No experience in managing these kinds of problems. They have never seen this level of climbing ever before. And now they are on this expedition where they are going to climb this amazing flat face without really having to figure out how to do it. So I recommend reading the book for sure, but I just thought I'd share the way this team got together was because they just felt like they had to go to the Trango Tower. Skinner was very enthusiastic. He said he had decided he wanted to go, and he was looking for other partners to come along with him. And all of these guys agreed to come with him. So now, what was interesting about this team was that who was on the expedition with Todd, right? These are the other people on the team. All of them were team members who badly wanted to climb this mountain. And Todd and his team, they had this mission, unified sense of mission that we want to just make this happen. Every person on the team enhanced the chance of success. So each one of them had slightly different skills. They came in together. Any one of them not being there, they would not have been successful. However, they had enough of the team within themselves that they could be successful. So every person had a team who was willing to contribute and had the capability to succeed along with the team. But each one was important in the whole thing. Okay. And the last thing, which is equally important, that all of these team members were willing to begin without having all the answers because none of them had been there before. If they had started to ask this question that show me the map of how you're going to get to this particular mountain, nobody had that. So there was no way they could have really started with all the answers. So they really needed a team like this. So when you're building a startup or when you're building a business, right, you need to have this kind of a mission, the mission that says, I'm going to go climb Tango Tower. So I need to have a mission that says, like, say for Vishal, okay, I'm going to go create 10,000 members or 1 million members for J4E. So whatever that mission is, once you have that kind of a mission, people get attracted to the mission and they come join you because they are very excited by that mission. Now you want to make sure that this mission is not just one person's mission, but it's the team's mission. So everybody in the team feels like they are part of this mission and there is a unified sense that this mission is very important. And when I'm going to do something, the success of the mission comes before my individual success. And this is really what comes up in a business context as well. So we all want to succeed, but we want the business to succeed first, and then we succeed because the business has succeeded and not the other way around, right? So, and every person on the team contributes to the team's success, and that's what makes this very interesting. And then finally, in a startup, and I'm sure you're all very familiar with this, all of you don't have all the answers in advance. So if somebody who's trying to join you says, okay, show me this, show me that, show me all of this before I can come, then perhaps he's not the right person because you really can't have all the answers. And even if you had answers for where you are today, as you go along, your business is going to change. And as it changes, you're going to need new sets of skills and new capabilities, and you're going to have to chart your own business. Now, this particular book actually is full of very interesting quotes, and I want to read some of them. And you can replace the mountain with your business. Okay, so the mountain doesn't give a damn about your resume. Without hunger, both skill and experience will remain in the best base camp. There is nothing more dangerous than a moderate mountain. Only an ultimate mountain can forge an ultimate team. The only guidebook to your mountain is the one you will write. the best plan is the one that works. Okay. And I really like the last one the best because, it's really the reality. Everyone can write a plan, but if that doesn't work, it's got no use. And when you get it done, that's the plan that works. So, when you are trying to climb a mountain, you haven't done it before. You don't know exactly what the route is. And even if you know the route when you went there last time, but when you go this time, it might be different, right? So you have to evolve your path as you go along. And that's really what is important in a business as well. So you may have done a certain thing in a particular way, but when you look at it at today's situation under current conditions, you might have to make decisions that are best for you at this point of time. So this is really what makes a difference in terms of how you pick a team. So now, how you think is more important than what you know, and pick teammates for what will they do for you, and not what they have already done. And this is a very important thing because a lot of times I find that businesses try to look for very experienced people who have already done it. But when you ask those people, so yeah, but why are you doing it? So they'll always say, oh, I've done this, I've always done that. So they may not be interested in doing it for you now, right? So what is important is that you want to take people on the team that who are willing to do for you what they have done in the past. So this is really what I wanted to share with you as a starting comments to say that, when you are trying to build a business, it's very hard to build a business on your own. It's very difficult to be a single person founder and all of that. And you need to bring in other people on the team to succeed. And as I look at businesses at scale, and as I look at larger and larger businesses, I have found that there is a very high correlation between good, successful businesses. And so building teams is one of the founders' primary responsibility. And this is sort of where I can imagine most of you will have to spend most of your time. So as you do that, what are these ideas and how do you build the teams? That's what I thought I'd get you started. So let me just summarize. Having a mission is very critical because it's the mission that attracts other people to the team. And then when you build a team, you want to build a team that is good for the cause, that is aligned to the mission, and is doing things that complement each other so that together as a team, you are far more effective than just a bunch of individuals. And finally, you are in this together, and what the plan you build is the plan you need, and it's the plan that works, right? So that's really how you want to look at this. I'm going to stop sharing, and this was sort of just to get things started. And I thought it'd be good to talk about teamwork and how teams are built as part of today's discussion as well. So I'll leave it here and I'll stop sharing.